All right, so today we're diving into INTPs and procrastination.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, you guys sent in a bunch of sources. Looks like you're really interested in like the why behind it.
Yeah.
And also some practical tips to like break free.
Right.
Which is cool. We've got 2 articles here that are all about like action strategies
Okay.
for INTPs to actually get stuff done.
Love it.
But the third one, this is where it gets juicy. This is about like the core of the INTP personality
Yeah.
and why they procrastinate. Are you ready for this?
I am so ready. Let's do it.
Okay, so we got to start with the basics, right?
Yeah.
What makes the INTP brain tick?
Yes. So you can't talk about INTPs and procrastination without understanding, their cognitive makeup. It's
Wow.
like the clues to the case.
Okay.
So the biggest clues lie in how they perceive the world and how they make decisions.
Okay, unpack that for us.
Okay, so INTPs are driven by introverted thinking.
Mhm.
So imagine like this incredibly intricate, constantly whirring machine of logic and analysis.
Yeah.
That is their happy place.
I like it.
Right. But here's the catch. It's paired with a preference for perceiving,
Okay.
which means they love to keep their options open,
Mm-hmm.
stay flexible, gather as much information as possible before committing to a decision.
So it's like they have this really powerful engine, but the parking brake is always halfway on?
Yes, exactly.
Uh-huh.
That is such a good way to put it.
Right.
And you can see how this combo creates the perfect breeding ground for procrastination.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right.
Like you're staring at a blank page. You're supposed to be writing a report, but instead you're like 10 tabs deep in research
Oh my gosh, yes.
on like the perfect framework.
And then that perceiving function is like whispering in your ear, don't rush it. What if there's a better way? What if there's more data to consider?
What's the word?
Analysis paralysis.
Yeah, I've definitely gotten sidetracked researching for this episode, but
Of course.
the articles mentioned it's not just this combo, right?
Yeah.
There's some like specific INTP procrastination traps.
Yes.
What really stood out to you?
Okay, the one that always gets me is the fear of not living up to their own standards.
Oh, yeah,
INTPs are their own worst critics.
totally.
And that fear of judgment, even if it's self-judgment, can be completely paralyzing.
It's like they've got a whole boardroom
Yeah.
of executives in their mind, just like
Yes.
judging their every move.
Scrutinizing.
And then, of course, that ties into perfectionism.
Yes. Oh my gosh, the perfectionism. It's huge for INTPs. Good enough is almost never good enough.
Never.
They want elegant solutions, perfect insights, and it makes them such amazing innovators, problem solvers, but it can also lead to this crippling procrastination because they're so worried about not meeting their own impossible standards.
Which is tough because the real world rarely offers those perfect solutions.
Exactly, and I think that clash of expectations, that's a huge part of it.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the articles mentioned like fear of success, which I thought was so interesting.
Yeah, that's a weird one, right?
Because you think success is like what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
But for INTPs, it can be kind of scary.
It can be really anxiety-inducing.
Yeah, it's like if you achieve that big goal, then
Right.
you just have to keep hitting higher and higher benchmarks.
Totally. And then does it change who you are? For INTPs who really cherish their inner world and often feel like outsider success can bring a lot of unwanted attention,
Yeah.
responsibility, and a shift in dynamics that they're just not comfortable with.
That's like, be careful what you wish for, but instead of
Yeah.
being excited, they're like, oh no.
Exactly. It fills them with dread.
Yeah.
And that dread that can manifest as procrastination because it's easier to stay in that comfort zone of, well, I have the potential,
Right.
than actually facing the uncertainty that comes with realizing it.
So we've talked about why the INTP procrastination.
Yeah.
And it's not just laziness.
No, not at all.
There's like deeper stuff going on.
Much deeper.
So let's get into like the strategies
Okay.
for how to work with this.
Yeah.
And one that comes up a lot is routine, which I thought was interesting.
Interesting, but kind of surprising, right?
A little bit, because INTPs, you think very free-flowing.
Right. You think, go with the flow.
Yeah, exactly.
But routine isn't about being a robot.
Right.
It's about a sense of structure,
Okay.
which can actually be really freeing for a mind that thrives on order amidst complexity.
That's like having a place for everything. So you're not wasting energy on like what to do next.
Exactly. Think of it like this. Even the most free-spirited artist probably has some kind of routine.
It's true,
They have a time of day where they do their art.
right?
They have a way they set up their space.
Yeah, they get in the zone.
Maybe a playlist.
It's not about getting rid of spontaneity. It's about like,
Channeling it.
yes.
So for INTPs, a little structure can go a long way to reduce that decision fatigue, the overwhelm, and it just creates a sense of momentum. It allows them to focus on what they're good at thinking, creating, instead of getting bogged down in the mundane.
Right, so it's not about being a slave to the calendar. It's just like those little things that give you a sense of
flow and control.
Okay.
Now, along with routine, there's another really powerful tool, and that is positive self-talk.
Oh, that's a big one, especially for INTPs.
Huge, because let's be honest.
They can be so hard on themselves.
Oh my gosh, the inner critic is on loudspeaker.
All the time.
And that can really kill your productivity.
Yeah.
Because if you're constantly thinking, why am I so lazy, or I'm never going to be good enough,
you're not going to get anything done.
It's like trying to run a marathon with a backpack full of rocks.
Yeah.
But the good news is you can choose to put the rocks down. It takes work and practice, but INTPs can rewire those negative thought patterns.
So you're talking about reframing.
Yes.
Like instead of saying, I'm terrible at deadlines, you could be like, deadlines are not my favorite, but I'm working on it.
Exactly.
Okay,
it
good.
seems small, but that little shift in language
Yeah.
can make a big difference on your motivation, your self-belief.
So be your own cheerleader, not your own worst enemy.
Yes, exactly. And this leads to another good tool, which is breaking down those big projects into smaller, more manageable tasks.
Okay.
Now, for INTPs,
Which seems obvious.
right, it does.
Okay.
But they love that big picture thinking, so it's really easy to get overwhelmed by the sheer size of an idea.
It's one thing to have the idea for the world-changing invention. It's another to actually like make it
Totally.
step by step.
So instead of looking at the whole entire Mount Everest,
Right.
what if you just focus on taking that next step?
Okay, I like that.
And then the next one, and the next one.
It feels less scary.
Right, and you might actually start to enjoy the journey.
Okay.
And that enjoyment is key because it leads us to a strategy that sometimes gets a bad rap.
What's that?
Procrastination.
Wait, are you serious?
I am.
I thought we were trying to get rid of procrastination.
Okay, not procrastination in like the traditional sense.
Okay.
Think of it more like strategic procrastination.
Okay.
Or productive procrastination.
Seductive procrastination. I like it.
So we've talked about how INTPs need that intellectual stimulation.
Right.
So instead of forcing yourself to power through a task that is draining your energy, what if you allow yourself to procrastinate with something that actually fuels your creativity?
Okay.
So instead of scrolling social media, which, let's be honest,
It's the worst.
makes us feel worse,
Yeah.
pick up a book
Okay.
on a topic you're interested in, watch a documentary, go for a walk.
Yeah.
Because often the best ideas come when we least expect them.
That's true. When you let your brain just...
Wander and
Yeah.
make those connections.
That's like your subconscious is working on it in the background.
Exactly. And that's working with that INTP brain, not against it.
Okay.
So procrastination is not the enemy.
Okay.
It's about understanding what's driving it and then finding ways to channel that energy productively.
I like it. So we're talking about like good procrastination, not
Right.
like...
Not the just avoiding everything procrastination. More like recognizing when you need a break and then doing something that actually feels good.
Yeah. Which is probably not going to be like 3 hours of TikTok.
Probably not, although I've been there.
Me too.
But think about how you feel after you read like a really good book.
Oh, yeah.
Or you get lost in a project that you're super passionate about.
Yeah, you actually feel energized
You feel refreshed.
instead of drained.
Exactly.
It's like hitting the reset button.
Yes. And speaking of resetting, the last article talked about something so important for INTPs.
Okay.
Collaboration.
Oh, interesting.
Which seems kind of counterintuitive at first.
Because you picture INTPs like alone in a room working on their stuff.
The lone genius, yeah.
Exactly.
But even the most introverted people still need that support system.
Right.
And for INTPs who can get really lost in their own heads,
Totally.
collaboration can be huge.
It's not about like giving up on being independent.
Right.
It's just acknowledging that you don't have to do it all yourself.
Exactly. And let's be real. There are some tasks that INTPs are just like, ugh.
Yes, like paperwork?
Yes, all the administrative stuff, anything super structured.
That just sucks the life out of them.
Yes.
So that's where collaborating can really help.
Exactly.
Find people who are good at the stuff you hate.
Yes, delegate.
And then you can focus on the good stuff.
Right, it's like building your dream team.
Ooh, I like that.
Everyone brings their A game,
Okay.
and the result is like 10 times better than anyone could have done on their own.
It's like if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yes, love that.
So to our listener, hopefully this deep dive has given you like a better understanding of the INTP brain.
Yes.
And like some actual tools to work with your procrastination.
Remember, you don't have to become someone you're not.
Right.
It's about knowing your strength.
Yeah.
knowing your challenges, and then creating an approach that works for you.
Because at the end of the day, it's about like actually getting your ideas out there.
Yes, and maybe even having some fun along the way.
I like that. Right. Well said. And to our listeners out there, let us know what you think.
Yes, we want to hear your aha moments.
Hit us up. And until next time, happy exploring.